Right, well, good morning, everybody. Great to see you guys here on our What No Holidays little webinar. Really came about because coaching a number of clients that I do, one of the big challenges is getting time off. And no matter what we seem to do with the business, getting people to take enough holidays when they're business owners can be a bit of a challenge. So I did a poll on LinkedIn a few weeks ago and just asked how many weeks holiday you get in per year, and the results were pretty scary. That about 90% of people were getting less than 4 weeks holiday, so less than the statutory holiday and what we actually give our employees. So I thought, right, we really need to sort of delve into this as to why this is happening and what we can do about it, and that's really what the webinar was all about. So the first thing I want to sort of start with is where does it all go wrong? Okay, because as business owners, I look at it and we go through these three phases. There's three phases of business growth. The first phase everyone goes through is the startup, which is where you have to put a lot of time in order to make some money. Okay, so we do whatever it takes. We get out there networking, we get on the telephones, we place adverts, we go and talk to past, contacts, and we put the hard yards in. So during this sort of phase, it's very difficult for us to actually make time to go on holiday because, I either do the work to get paid or I go off on holiday and nothing happens. So it's very difficult for people, to be even thinking about a holiday. And I would say that's okay in a startup for the first part. At some point, we need to get into phase two, where the business now is at a certain level where we change our focus in actually investing our money to get our time back. And this is all about putting people and processes into the business. So during this phase, we should start seeing more time. But what can happen is we've now got a team of people that are needing more of our attention, and we don't feel we can leave them on their own long enough for us to go and get holidays, or we're working twice as hard before we go away, and then we have a holiday and then we come back and work twice as hard to catch up, and then we think, well, what was the point in that? So, or we're actually on holiday and we're getting interruptions by our team as well. So we're sort of waiting for this sort of third phase, which is where the business is working without us, it's profitable, and at that point we've got choices as whether we want to then sort of grow it further, we just manage it, or we want to sell it. And it's that sort of phase that people think, well, when I get there, that's when I can enjoy life, that's when I can have my holidays. Scary thing though is this first phase can take about 5 years. Second phase is probably another 5 years. So you're not really going to get to phase three until you're 10 years plus into the business. And that's doing it properly. And most people in business, haven't been taught how to do it properly. And so that 10 years actually becomes 20 years. So I saw a very successful guy, he was sort of about here. He was earning about £1 million a year profit in his business. He'd never had more than a week's holiday in 20 years. So he could afford to go on holiday, but because he hadn't structured his business right, he never had the time to actually do that. It took us about 9 months to restructure the business. At that point, he then managed to have 3 weeks on a sort of around the world cruise, which was what his dream was. So this is what's happening with business owners. So if you're in this sort of phase of, I can't really get a holiday, then think about where you are, and then you've got to structure what you do in order to change it, because you can have a holiday here, you can have a holiday here, you can have a holiday here. There's nothing that says you can't do this. It's just that you've got to do what it takes to actually make it happen, because your business is perfectly designed to get the results that it's getting. So if you get through a whole year and you've not had a holiday or only had a week, then you've created this monster that means you can't do that. Now, if you do it for a year and next year is fine, but if you find 1 year, 2 years is going and you're still this, then you're just not structuring your business right to allow you to have the life that you want. So my little formula for life success is be times do equals have. Okay, so who do I need to be what do I need to do? What do I want to have? So my have is my dreams and my goals. Yeah. My beliefs are my be, and my plan and my action is the do. So you've got to have all of these three things in order to be successful. Okay. So if you want a successful business, yeah, you've got to have the beliefs of how, and the knowledge and the skills to actually build a successful business. You've got to do the right things, and you've got to want to have a successful business. You've got to know what a successful business looks like. Likewise, if you want to have a holiday, yeah, you've got to be the person that has the holiday, so has the structure to actually do that, and you've got to do what it takes to actually achieve it. Out of all of those three things, the most important for success is have. See, what I find with most people in business is they don't dream big enough. Okay, they don't think about what it is they want to have with their holiday. So I have this little thing called IVVM: idealize, visualize, verbalize, materialize. That's how everything in life is ever created. Idealize it. I've got to have the idea. I've got to be able to visualize it. I've got to be able to verbalize it out to other people, and then it has a chance of happening. So if we take this into a holiday, yeah, if I haven't got the ideal holiday in mind, if I haven't created a picture of it, if I don't really want to know where I'm going to go, and I can't therefore visualize me on holiday, me sitting on the beach, me touring, whatever it's going to be, and I can't then talk to somebody about that, then there is no way it's going to happen. And I found this, in my early days of business, is I'll take a break when I've got some time, but I had no idea what I was going to do, and therefore that time never happened because I hadn't really an idea of what I wanted to do. I couldn't visualize where I wanted to go, therefore I couldn't talk about it, and therefore it never happened. As soon as I started idealizing and having a dream board of all the fantastic places there are in the world to go and visit, then I could then start to visualize. Wouldn't it be great to do that this year? Then I could verbalize it and talk about it to other people, my partner, sort of holiday reps, to actually get that sort of feeling of what is I'm going to do and make that commitment, and then it can actually happen. The other thing we do wrong is, let's imagine that we've been in business for a couple of years and we haven't had more than a few days holiday, and those were a bit erratic and didn't really work. We can't plan one day to be away from our business. Yeah, if we can't set, right, I'm going to have Friday the 13th off. Why you'd want to go on holiday on Friday the 13th, I don't know. But, a Friday off, and say, right, I'm going to book it out in the diary. I'm going to actually put it in my calendar, and I'm going to go somewhere for that one day. It's not just a day and I don't know what I'm going to do, because if you do that, when it comes to Friday morning and the phone rings and a customer wants you, you're going to go, oh, customer, or doing something which I don't really know what I'm going to do. You're always going to default back to supporting the customer. That's going to always take priority. So if you can't do one day, then can't do a long weekend. So if you can do one day, then start planning a long weekend. Take the Friday and the Monday off and book something in there. So we're off to the Lake District in about 2 weeks' time, I think. So, so the Friday was booked out in the diary. The Monday was booked out in the diary. The hotel was booked. So we're now actually going to go to the Lake District. It's in the diary. So unless something mega happens, then that holiday will happen. Once you can do a long weekend, then you can start planning a week. So then plan a week. Once you've planned a week, then do 2 weeks. If you try to go from nothing to a 4-week holiday, then you're going to push yourself too much. It's going to be very difficult for you to structure your business, to actually achieve that. Now, it can be done, but it's a lot more difficult. So I would definitely recommend, if you're not planning days away, weekends away, weeks away, and do that first and build up to actually having a 4-week holiday. So I managed my first 4-week holiday about 10 years ago, and it was a trip to Australia. and I didn't want to go for 1 week, 2 weeks. So it was a case of this is going to be pretty much the whole of August. I'm going to be away, and it took me about 18 months to actually structure things so I could actually take that time off. Okay, so if you set that goal, you can actually achieve it. So the first thing so from that is you've got to have the goal. You've got to be able to visualize it. You've got to really understand what it is you want to achieve. Then you've got to start looking at what are your beliefs. So what do you believe about holidays? And everyone's different. I know we've got some travel guys on the call. The beliefs of people about holidays, can be quite scary when you dig down. And one of the big things is you need to look in the mirror and decide whether you are what I would call a below the line person, where there's a lot of blame, excuses, and denial. And you know that you're one of these people, or you know that you're dealing with one of these people when they sort of say, I don't need a holiday. Okay, and I see these all the time. I don't need a holiday. I love work. I don't need to go away. What would I do? What would I do sitting on a beach? Okay, that is a denial thing that's come in. Okay, that they're ignoring it because the reality of it is they can't do it, they haven't done it, and therefore the only way to back that up is to actually ignore it or make excuses. I can't find the time. I'm too busy. I'm too busy to have a holiday. Or the one you sort of then move on to is it's about blaming somebody else. It's easy to blame somebody else. My customers, what would my customers do? What would my team do? There's always somebody else to blame that we can't do what we want to do. Now, hopefully everyone listening to this isn't one of these people. So we want to be somebody who takes ownership, has accountability and responsibility. So somebody takes responsibility, says, I'm going to make time to do this. It is important to me, therefore I'm actually going to go out of my way to make time to book in this holiday and have this holiday. I'm going to hold myself accountable or get somebody else to hold me accountable. Now, the best thing if you've got kids is tell the kids, we're going to go to Disney during July, August. So, are the kids then going to hold you accountable to actually going to Disney? Are you going to get away with not going to Disney? It's never going to happen. Okay. So, but maybe if you don't have kids, do it to your partner. Okay. Tell your friends, tell somebody, external to you, this is what I'm going to do. Because while it's a secret with you, you'll let yourself down, but you're less likely to let somebody else down. And then the ownership to me is, if that holiday is not the most important thing in your life, then other more important things are going to get in the way. So you've got to make holidays becoming as important as anything else that there is there. Your own well-being, your own desires have got to be strong enough so that when other things happen, you go, actually, no, this is far more important than that is. And that's the one thing that most people don't do, because the business becomes their life. Whereas from my perspective, the business is there to give you more life. If you're not structuring your business in a way that allows you to do the things you want to do, then what's the point in having a business? Go and get a job. You get 5 weeks holiday. And if you don't take it, you're almost forced to take holidays. So we've got to have that mentality that the business is there to give us more life, not take it away. So if we've worked on our beliefs, and we've got the goal of, this is what we want to achieve, then we need to start to plan it. And the best way, without shadow of a doubt, is book it in your diary. Okay, don't book it for next week, because for most people to try and do something for next week isn't going to work. Put it far enough into the future where it's set there, it's a commitment to you. You verbalized it to the team. So if you've got a team, or verbalize it to a cat if you're on your own. But say, I'm going to take that day, that week, that month off, and then book it out in your diary. Because if you don't make that commitment, then you're basically giving yourself a way out and saying, okay, well, it's not that important to me, therefore I won't do it. Once you've committed to it, Yeah, and you know where you're going to go. Obviously, sit down with your travel expert, plan something out. Then list down what's going to stop you. Okay. You've got to face the brutal truth. Yeah, that business is tough and there'll be things that you're doing that you need to overcome. So you've got to be looking at this and say, am I going to let my customers down? If I am, then I need to do something about it. Now, if you phoned all your customers up and say, dear Mr. Mrs. Customer, do you mind if I go and have a week's holiday this year? Yeah. Are they going to turn around and say no? Yeah, they're never going to turn around and say no. If you ask your team, oh, do you mind if I take a week's holiday this year? They're not going to turn around and say no. If you phone up the bank manager and say, do you mind if I take a holiday this year? They're not going to say no. The only person that says no, you can't do this, is you. And that's why the beliefs is so important. So look and make a list of all the things that could stop you. And then there might be a long list. It might be a lot of things that you need to sort out. But if you don't face that brutal truth, if you don't make that list and you don't start doing something about it, then it will never happen. So when I had my first sort of month off, it took me 18 months, and I had to, because my job is working with clients on a week by week basis, so they weren't going to see me for a whole week, for a whole month. But I still wanted to get paid for that. I didn't want to suddenly lose all my income, so I had to structure it so that there was stuff going on before I went away and after I went away that gave them value during the period I wasn't there. Okay, it took a fair bit of organizing, a fair bit of planning, but I had 18 months to do it. And therefore, I set out, and once you set a goal and you set a plan, then you've got a very good chance of getting success. Once you've listed all of those things, then you've got to think, right, the only thing that's going to stop me then is the systems I set up and the people that I have employed to do this. So if you're on your own, you might need to outsource. You might need to bring in a subcontractor. You might need to bring in a friend. You might need to employ a VA or something for that sort of period of time. Yeah, you might have to improve your systems to actually sort of set a process that you can give to somebody to actually follow. So you've got to be looking in detail at the whole of your business, and all of this helps in that transition from a business that relies on you to a business that doesn't rely on you. So not only is it helping you get your holiday, it's actually doing what it takes to build a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So you're actually doing good for the business as well as doing good for you in actually having your holidays. And the other thing is, there's going to be times where you don't know what to do. You're looking at it and going, I have no idea how to overcome this challenge, this hurdle. So be prepared to ask for help. That's why people like me as coaches, we're there to help people with that transition from where you are to where you need to be. That's the only point of taking on a coach, is to get you to where you want to be quicker than you would do on your own. So why not ask for help? So, it is down to you. And this is the big thing. There's nobody else involved. Every business can take as much holiday as you want to take, as long as you gear the business up to actually achieve it. But I think the one thing that I see, and I know this, from myself, because I've been there, is the reward must be worth the effort. If the holiday that you are booking is not sexy, if it's like a long weekend in Skegness, and a client phones you up on a Friday and says, look, there's a job here for £5,000, could you do it? Are you going to sacrifice a weekend in Skegness for a £5,000 job? Of course you are. Okay. If what you've booked is something that really emotionally ties you into it, and that's really what you want to do, and you say £5,000, or going to the Taj Mahal, what would I rather? Do you want 5,000? Okay, I'll earn that back in a couple of months' time. So you've got to start visualizing and setting the goals that are much bigger, that actually power you on. And I think goals are like planets. The bigger the planet, the bigger the gravitational pull. The bigger the goal, the bigger the desire for what you want for your holiday, the bigger the gravitational pull. And that's really where, you know, you need to be sitting down and setting great destinations. So, you know, not only are we going to Lake District for a long weekend, you know, Marietta's helped us book a cruise to Iceland because it's on my bucket list. It's one of the destinations I want to go. It's our 30th wedding anniversary. So combine the two, you know. So, and is anything going to get in the way of me going on that? No way, because yeah, the other thing is I've verbalized it to the wife. So if I kept it a secret, then I could cancel it anyway. But you know, I'll be cancelling that one on the pain of death. But it's got to be worth the pursuit. So you know, set bigger goals, plan it out, work on your beliefs, and then you can actually achieve it. So if anybody watching this wants a little bit of help, you know, what I propose to do is a little 3-month, you know, get me a holiday package where, you know, I'll help you set the goals, not the holiday goals. I'll come on to that in a minute, but set the goals for the business to structure it in a way that will allow that to happen. Create the plan, you know, maybe challenge some of those limiting beliefs, get the systems and the people right. And then at the end of that, then you should feel comfortable to actually go and enjoy your holiday as well. So not only have booked it, but actually go and enjoy it. And if you do want a bit of help with the actual visualization of the holidays, then I would definitely recommend using a travel consultant. I've been using them for 20 years because, you know, I sit and look on the internet and, you know, just get lost and I just waste so much time. So the best thing to do is be able to contact one of these great guys, phone them up, email them and say, look, this is my budget, this is where I want to go, give me some ideas, and they'll give you loads and loads of ideas. They'll book it all for you, and so you don't have to worry about anything. And then the other great thing with having booked a holiday is you actually enjoy the time between now and you actually have the holiday. The anticipation is often as good, if not better, than the actual holiday itself. Hopefully it's not better than the holiday because you want to get a good holiday, but looking forward to a holiday is all part of the holiday process. So I definitely recommend using, you know, a travel consultant to help you with this, take away the pain, make it easy, make the commitment, help with that visualization and verbalization of your goals. So it is down to you. You know, there are no excuses, but you've got to want this enough to actually make it happen. But after all that's said and done, more often said than ever done. So people talk about holidays, but unless you get off your backside and go and do something about it, then you're going to be here probably in a year's time still sort of listening to other people's travel journeys. So thanks for listening. Great to have you on. Yeah, please do contact me, contact one of your travel counselors, and, you know, really hope you have a fantastic holiday this year and for years to come. Bye for now.